who has accomplished much more than I ever will, Miss Megan Blum.
There really was, though, well, semi. But I want to say, like, what an honor it is to be here tonight. This is a bigger honor than anything I've ever experienced. I mean, even going to the Paralympics, meeting the president, I mean, this is huge, and I really appreciate the opportunity. And it's really just another reminder that life really does get better when you don't give up. And so when I was first asked to speak, I really had no idea. Well, I was really excited at first, and then as I thought about it more, I had no idea what I could possibly say to a room full of the bravest men and women that sacrificed their lives for our country. I mean, I'm just a girl in a wheelchair that plays wheelchair basketball, so I really was a little scared after a while. But the truth is, I mean, I know what it feels like to experience something devastating and feel like your life is never going to get better, and to be in a really dark place. And I know what it takes to get out of it, and depression. And I think once you hit that point in depression where you really, you want to end your life, I don't really think you can get any further than that unless you kill yourself. So I think, that I can relate in that way if anyone has ever been there. And when I heard the tribute to the fallen soldiers, it really broke my heart because I know, it's sad. I really wish that we could have saved them, or, the ones that didn't die in war but died because of what they experienced. So I want to tell my story a little bit, and just maybe you can take something from it and know that life can get better. And know the importance of fighting through it, because it's not just for yourself. And when you have severe depression, you don't really fight for yourself. You fight for other people, because nothing matters to you anymore when you're that depressed. So you don't do anything for yourself. And when you realize that what you do helps other people, that's what gives you strength. And at least that's what gave me strength. So in 2008, like the brochure says, I was in a motorcycle accident where I broke my back and became paralyzed from the waist down. And before that happened, I was an athlete. I played every single sport that there was. I was the most active, hyper person out there. I got, most athletic in middle school and high school, and so the perfect girl for it to happen to. But I also had depression my entire life, and I wasted a lot of my ability because I struggled to believe in myself, and I had a hard time caring about things, and so I held back in all the sports that I played, and I hated it every second. I felt trapped all the time. People would always tell me how good I was at all these different sports, and I would always be thinking, yeah, well, I could have done way better than that, or, I could have scored that goal, and I know people say that, but, I know it was true. I know how good I should have been, and I wasn't, and I wouldn't allow myself to be that. So I quit playing sports junior year, and then just trying to figure myself out and find a way to be happy. Senior year, I tried to get back into it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it better. I already ruined my opportunity to earn a scholarship, in soccer, and I really should have gone far in soccer. And I thought I was getting things figured out. I thought I was getting my life better. And right at that time, I graduated, and then I was in a motorcycle accident where I broke my back, became paralyzed, and the regret that I felt for everything that I didn't do when I had the chance to do it, it was horrible. And I thought there was nothing I could do anymore. I didn't know anyone else in a wheelchair, and everywhere I went, people, would look at me with those horribly sad looks on their faces and pity, just so much pity. and they would just tell me, you know, this is such a horrible thing to have happen. You're too young for this to have happened, and be so, you know, just so sad about it. And I would be thinking, okay, yeah, well, it happened, and this is my life now. So could you please stop telling me it's, you know, the worst life you could possibly live? And it was really hard to break through that barrier. So it took me about a year. Well, there's lots of other people that would tell me that I was an inspiration and I was so strong, and when they would say those things, I would be thinking, you know, I'm not that strong, I'm paralyzed and I'm stuck like this. There's nothing about that that makes me strong. I truly want to die, and I pray for cancer, I pray for anything that will end my life. And I'm only in front of you because my mom convinced me to come out of the house and go to the grocery store, you know, so but they continued to tell me those things, and eventually I questioned, you know, why am I not trying my hardest? Like, I'm tired of feeling like a phony. I'm tired of being looked at with pity, and I want to make sure that people have no opportunity to ever look at me with pity again. I wanted to make sure that I did something that I could hold my head up about, and I could feel good, and I could feel important in life, and I had a reason to live. And so I promised myself that, you know, I was going to make that happen, and I had no idea how I was going to make it happen. I spent the next year of my life in complete darkness, just pushing through. I signed up for community college just so I'd have a reason to wake up in the morning, because I knew I needed something to force me to get up, otherwise I wouldn't, and I would sink into a depression. And so I just, you know, got through the day. I worked out every single day, just day by day, and I had no idea what the future held, but I knew that something was going to happen and it would get better. And then a year later, a kid went into the YMCA, and he had been in a car accident, and he asked them if they knew anyone that was in a wheelchair that he could talk to. And so they gave me his information, and I called him. He had heard about some guys that get together and play wheelchair basketball in Tacoma, and I couldn't really believe that I had never heard about wheelchair basketball, or that in Tacoma, like 15 minutes away from where I live, guys play wheelchair basketball. It was crazy to me that no one had told me that, no one even knew about it. And so I went and checked it out the next weekend, and I knew right away that this was my opportunity to overcome all of that regret that I felt. It was my chance to finally to play a sport again, and to recognize what I had when I had it, and to not have to feel that regret. You know, if I break my neck and become paralyzed from the neck down, or something happens, I'm not going to ever live with that regret again. And I was going to do something bigger than I had ever done before. Well, I didn't exactly know I had that opportunity yet, but when I found out later that they also offered, they had colleges that had wheelchair basketball, and they offered scholarships to play there. And then I even found out about the Paralympics, which is insane to me that I did not know about that either. When I was in a nursing home after my accident, because I broke 18 bones, and I had to let bones heal before I could go back to rehab. That was in 2008, and I remember watching the Olympics on TV and just looking at everything that I couldn't do anymore, and I felt so numb, and I just had tears rolling down my face as literally every single thing I couldn't do, like every move, anything, I couldn't do it. And if the Paralympics would have been on TV right after that, then I would have recovered so much faster than I did. But I had to do it on my own, and I had to find it on my own. And I had to believe that it could get better. So yeah, when I found out about the Paralympics, I told myself, I'm gonna do whatever it takes, and I'm gonna make it there. Because I know that if I can make it to the very top, if I can make it to the Paralympics, which is the top of wheelchair basketball, that's the top level, you know, and I knew if I could make it there, I would have overcome, by the time I got there, everything that was ever holding me back. Everything. I would have overcome the accident. I would have made it worthwhile. I would have turned it into something good, and I would have found strength in myself and learned how to believe in myself, because there was no way I was going to make it to the Paralympics if I didn't believe in myself. And so, you know, I did everything I could. I went back to school, took the classes I needed to transfer to get into a psychology degree. I ended up going I went on a recruiting trip to the University of Illinois, and even on that trip, on something that should have been so exciting, such a good time in my life, I remember hoping that the plane would crash, because it was such a hard fight, and I still I was playing the sport, but I hated my life. I hated being in a wheelchair. I hated everything about it. I hated the way people looked at me, the way that society treated me like I was an outcast. And I experienced those things, and it is hard, but it makes you stronger, and I always wanted to be stronger, and I would not have taken it back, even during that time, because before it happened, I didn't feel strong, and I wanted to be better than that. So I went on the recruiting trip. I came back, I kept working hard, and then in the winter, I was trying to transfer into a college in 2011, and so in December of 2010, one of my closest friends committed suicide, and that was really hard for me, because we had always been there for each other and encouraged each other. And I never even knew she was sad, though. She never told me that. She never talked about that. She just listened to me and was always there for me. But she didn't even give me a chance. And then she had given up on something that I was still trying to believe was possible. And and then at her funeral, one of my other closest friends, he was acting really strange, and then when we went out to dinner, he called his mom and asked her to pick him up, and he called me from the hospital that evening and started telling me about the scary hallucinations that he was seeing. And he was later diagnosed with schizophrenia, and was in and out of the hospital for 6 months. And during that time, all I could do was answer the phone and just listen to him, but I couldn't be there for him, because I couldn't handle everything I was going through. I was still trying to practice really hard to earn a scholarship to play in college, and I was trying to deal with the death of my best friend who just committed suicide, and I was trying to finish school, and I was scared of losing him at the same time. And so all I did was listen. I was never there for him. I never went and visited him in the hospital. I just could not. I was barely hanging on still. Things had only gotten worse, and I was still moving forward in everything I was doing, but I was truly so close. I wanted to die so badly, but I was not going to kill myself, because honestly, I think if you kill yourself, you just have to start all over again. And I was like, I'm already at this point in my life, and I have to figure it out. I have to make it through it. That's really the only thing that kept me from doing it. I knew that there was a reason that I was going through all of this. And so I ended up having to go to a wheelchair basketball camp 2 weeks after he committed suicide. And I had to show the coaches that I could handle it, because they were giving me a full ride scholarship, and I didn't want them to think that I'm just some, girl that got into an accident and thinks everything's going to be handed to her, or, some pity party in a wheelchair when they're in wheelchairs and they've been through stuff. So I had to suck it up. And in between every session, I went to my room and cried my eyes out and then kept going. Then I left to school in the fall, and I'm glad I don't have to read off of that, because it wasn't going to be very good. So then I went to school in the fall, and I kept pushing forward. I called my parents crying every single night. They were really worried about me. I was really worried. I really have no idea how I made it through any of that. I finally started taking antidepressants in January. I had tried forever to do it on my own, but I just couldn't. My mind just was not producing the chemicals that I needed to produce. So I started doing that, and then in 2013, I was invited to try out for the Development USA wheelchair basketball team, because the 2012 Paralympics, a lot of the Paralympians take a year off, and then that's your year to really step it up if you want a chance on the team. So I ended up making the team, and then 2014, I made the team again, and I went to the World Championships where we took 4th place. And during all of these, wheelchair basketball was always my time to go and face everything that I was going through. It was my time to go. And when you take that shot, you have to have complete confidence in yourself. If you want it to go in, you have to believe it's going to go in. And since I was so negative about myself and thought, I was never going to be good enough, when I knew how much better I could be still, just like before my accident, and I knew I was holding myself back, and I had to beat that. I could get better, and by the time I got to the Paralympics, I would be there. I would be swishing the shot, and I would be feeling confident, and I would be just know who I am. And so, I mean, just to speed it up, like, yeah, I ended up making the 2015 Parapan team, and we won gold that year, and then I ended up making it to the 2016 Paralympics, and we won gold. And, you know, the part that kind of sucks is that I didn't really play a lot, and I worked really hard to get there. But something that really is amazing is I was right that by the time I got there, I would know who I am, and I would have confidence in myself. And during the warm-ups before the games, like there was all these people out in the stands, and I was swishing the shot, and I wasn't thinking about what anyone else thought of me. I wasn't thinking I was bad. I was just playing, and it felt so amazing. And then after the game, you know, I cried when I didn't play because, I mean, it was hard. But I got over it. By the evening, I was laughing with my teammates, and I was having a good time. And before, that would have killed me for days. I would have thought I'm just, you know, the shittiest person ever. No, you know, everyone thinks I suck, all of those things. But I had gotten past that, and I let things go. Like, I was able to experience things that were hard, and they would pass. And I never thought I would experience that. And I mean, now I get to play with the Wounded Warriors program, and you know, wheelchair basketball, it's amazing. It really did save my life, and this accident saved my life. And it really did. It made me a stronger person, and the thing about it is I wouldn't ever take it back. It's still hard. You know, there's still things that I have to face. Society still, you know, sometimes treats me as an outcast, or I'm not really sure how to explain it, but it's hard. But I love becoming stronger. I love everything that makes me stronger, and I want to be above all of that. And I just want to explain to you, or try and help you understand the importance of not giving up, and to understand that when you fight through that, you're helping so many people around you to know that it's possible to get through it, and to know that there is like a light at the end of the tunnel, you know. And if someone would have told me all of these things, if I would have met anyone that could have told me that it will get better, and you know, they could have showed me, I would have recovered so much faster. You're not only doing it for yourself, you're not even doing it for yourself, because if you get to that point, you don't care. But know what you're doing for the world, and you're already out there fighting for everybody. And so when you come back, you still have to fight for everyone. I know that the things you experience, I can't even imagine, and I know that it's got to be hard, but it's another battle, but it's so worth it. And the people that come into your life because of it, all these good people, the bad people leave, and the good people find you, and that's amazing too. It's hard to deal with, but it's also worth it. And so I just wanted to tell you that, hoping that it can do something for you if you ever get yourself in that place in life.
For an outstanding speech and a great message, and all these soldiers and their family members heard. And we'll take it to the ones that aren't here, that we'll see tomorrow and on Monday. And it was very brave of you. I'm very glad that you went outside to the grocery store with your mom. Yeah, I bet. I can't imagine. Now we got you a few things. So first, we got you this nice tiny table piece that you can take back. So hopefully it fits in your car. But it's to Megan Blum, 46th Aviation Support Battalion Holiday Ball, with deepest appreciation for serving as our guest speaker, Bella Torres. I also got you a Beltor shirt. So a nice polo that you can wear. And it's got our symbol and our person support. So thank you very much. So one more round of applause.
It's going to make a stunning addition to your garage one day.